So, smoking out of the Bing's favorite. Smoking some Rattray's Old Gowrie. Using the original rosewood tamper. I got it going on my YouTubianites. YouTubianites. I don't know. Sounds good. Bearded Tamper once again. So kind of thought I'd come on and do a little tamper talk. Got a lot of interest in my tampers here lately, and I said in a previous video that I would kind of give you guys a rundown of how I do it, and eventually we'll get to making a video, or I don't know if that's going to be interesting if you guys want to see me turn in a tamper, but I spoke a little bit about the process and what was going on and how you got from a piece of wood to a tamper. So I'm going to show you here. So obviously you can start with a chunk of wood. This is Osage orange. I don't have a whole lot of it left, but I was able to get my hands on maybe a 5-foot log, not really a log, but branch of it like this. I'll say hedge trees aren't straight, so if you can find a straight piece, get it, because it's rare. So yeah, so I was able to get a chunk of it here, and I'll just put something like this. See how it's flat right there, ish, and I'll put it on the table saw and just cut it until I get 2 flat sides, and then from there I will that's your square. Your start of your square pieces. Not that you need them square for the lathe, but that's how I do it. And then just cut them down and get as much as you can out of it. You don't take a whole lot off. You want to use what you can, even the white in there. I mean, this is hard as a rock. Well, it's not a rock, but it's pretty hard. So that's one way that I get pieces of wood. Now, another way is I use flooring samples. I was fortunate enough to get my hands on a pretty good stack of flooring samples, hardwood flooring samples. And it looks like this. This is chestnut. So it's a sample about like yay by yay, and it's even this one's been cut down, but I'll just take it, and I have to get this off either way. Sometimes you can peel it off, but sometimes I just leave it on, and then I just cut it off on the table saw. It's almost just as easy, but sometimes it does pop right off. So that's where I get a large amount of my wood, 90% of my wood for tampers. And then I cut them down. I cut them down into strips. They're longer, and then I just use the chop saw and chop them down into lengths. And then we go from this to something like this. And this is, it's been on the lathe and gotten turned. So we're done with that, and then we have this. And then I take it to the bandsaw. I mean, it's sanded, I use I think typically I do like I think it's a 120 or no, it's a 100 grit sandpaper, and then I think I think it's 250. I can't remember. And then I have like a sanding sponge. It's essentially a sponge with that's wrapped in sandpaper. The sand grit is adhered to the sponge, and then that and it's fine, and that makes it a nice smooth finish. And I do that while it's on the lathe, while it's turning. I don't it wouldn't get sanded this good if I didn't do it on the lathe. Let's just say that. So I take it to the bandsaw and I cut the ends off here, cut and cut, and then this is my intended tamping end. This is going to be the end that you push the tobacco down with, and this is going to be I've left this enough for a dottle pick. What you if you want to get your tobacco out. Me, I don't ever need to. That's why my tampers that I use don't have dottle picks on there. They look great. They look pretty cool, but I just tap the top of my bowl, with my thumb, and however you do it, and it just loosens it up, and I don't bang it, on the ashtray. Sometimes I might have to, smack it a little bit harder, but it seems to come out. So I don't use the dottle pick in if I do have a tamper. I mean, not that I'm against it. Obviously, I make them, so I'm not against it. But so a lot of my earlier tampers didn't have the dottle pick, but they were in demand. So now I'm making them with it. More people like the dottle pick. Dottle pick. Yeah. So then we take that, and after I cut the ends off on the bandsaw, I then take this over to my sander, and it's a disc and belt sander. It's a combination sander, and it's got the disc on the front of it that spins, and then it has a belt. You can either lay it down, or you can raise it up, and it'll stop at any angle. But so then I sand this down, and fashion a pick out of it, and then here's another one. I just got done turning three, but and again, this is the tamping end, and then I'm gonna do a dottle pick here. But I only did one because this takes a while to do the pick end of it. So this is the almost said rosewood. It's the Osage orange. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, that's the Osage orange. Put it against finally something you can see against my dark clothes. So obviously that's the pusher downer, and that's the getter outer. Yep. Yeah. So you can see it's got a bit of a little swoop to it. Bit of a curve in it. And then with this wood, because it is incredibly hard. If you're not careful, you will burn it. Like you'll put dark spots in it. Um, there might be one from the. I'm not too concerned about the table saw. Just getting it bound up. See that dark spot right? Ooh, see that dark spot right there? It's not supposed to be dark like that. Well, that's from getting it bound up. Just trying to cut it too fast on the table saw. See, that's how it's supposed to look. But got it bound up on that side. And and if you sand it, you push too hard on the sander, or you leave it in one spot for too long, or if your sandpaper is it's just worn out, you know, you can burn it, and it can be pretty hard to get out a burn mark in some wood, because you don't want to sand it too much, or you're going to lose the shape, you know, that you desire. So you really you gotta be soft. You gotta. I've put burnt marks in wood, and sometimes I've just dealt with it. But over time, you know, you learn what to do. But it takes a bit to get some burn marks out of wood. So that's just kind of a little walk through of tamper making here in the bearded tamper shop. So again, this wood, Osage orange, hedge apple, whatever you want to call it, and it's man, it's beautiful. Love that orange. Love the orange color and the grain on this one. This one was a bit of the, see how the heart of it's orange, then the outside. This tamper right here was, you know, kind of a mix, bit of a corner piece there. It still had some bark on it when I started it, but it came out really nice, and it's got some dark grain in it, some light grain, some yellow grain. This tamper's got a little bit of everything. I really like it. I like wood. Messing with wood. I've said it 1,000 times. You guys are probably getting tired of me here saying it. So that's a little walkthrough of how I turn a tamper, and then I'll rub some teak oil on it, and it just brings out the color. You know, rub it on, and then I rub it off. So there you have it, folks. Till next time, take care.